Will,
Yes.
do you like musicals?
I do like musicals, yeah.
Do you like summer?
I hate summer.
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah, that is extremely loaded. We all hate summer here.
We don't like heat, and also down here where we live, everything is fluctuating in a way that doesn't ever make sense. So
We are in a constant state of things are hot and sometimes they are also wet. The wet does not always fix the hot.
the air is wet, the heat is wet.
Yeah.
It's
Everything
never
is just-
fun.
And it's always so hot it's also wet anyway, even if it's not extra wet.
You know what isn't wet?
The desert?
The desert. Hey everybody, welcome to
Yeah.
Holidaze episode 5, where we're going to be talking about... We're going to sort of switch gears.
Yeah.
We just got out of our Christmas in July
Christmas
portion.
is over.
Christmas is over. It ended in July, and now we're moving into the beginning of summer of August. The very fast beginning and ending of summer.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I'm very happy that it's our last month of summer. The kids are going back to school. We don't have to see them anymore.
I love the irony of us putting out an episode like the week after kids go back to school from summer break.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, it's technically still summer.
It is still summer.
Their problem, not ours.
Yeah.
But while the kids in the real world are going back to school, the kids in our fake world are just getting out, because we're going to be talking about High School Musical 2, a movie produced in 2007 starring, everyone knows, Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, Ashley Tisdale, whole bunch of people.
Queen.
Directed by Kenny Ortega, who's, of course, been known for a bunch of other musicals and whatnot, but more specifically like Hocus Pocus and... Was it Dirty Dancing he did back in the day?
He did Dirty Dancing, he did Hocus Pocus, he did Newsies.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
I have never seen it either.
I like musicals, but I wouldn't say I'm someone who has like gone and watched a lot of the old, like quote unquote classic musicals, like Newsies.
See,
Like
I'm
West
somewhat
is West
in
Side
that...
Story a musical?
West Side Story is a musical.
Never seen
I
it.
have never seen it either because I just do not dig the like dance fights. It was just a little eh.
No, I think it's funny, but
Yeah.
I've never seen Grease, but I was in a production of Grease. So
I hate Grease.
Guess that still works.
Just never liked Grease.
It's all right. I don't care for it either, but it might just be I don't really dig the aesthetic.
But yeah, I like some classic musicals, like obviously Sound of Music, Singing in the Rain, things like that. But I don't go to see a lot of them. I think I've seen like a production of Les Mis, I've seen a couple productions of Wicked, things like that. But I feel like nowadays I listen to more musicals like on Spotify between like Heathers, Anastasia. I've checked a little bit of Carrie and Mean Girls also, and they were all right. That was okay. But I'd never, ever seen High School Musical 2
Can I?
until
I'm gonna pause
week.
on this discussion real quick, and I might need to share something later because I did just find out about something, and I need to see if I can find a link for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put a pin in this, but there's something to do with Bet on It that I found while scrolling through IMDb, and I feel like we might need to discuss this in greater depth. I'll have to do some research, but we're talking about High School Musical 2. It is a movie, a sequel to the original High School Musical, which was about a boy meets girl. Boy's a basketball star, girl's sort of a very intellectual, nerdy
Very
girl.
jock-nerd dynamic.
It's the jock-nerd dynamic, but she's not really ever put in, like... She's not put in the box of, like, stereotypical nerd. She's... Vanessa Hudgens is a very pretty girl.
Yes, it's the funny thing of... And I guess, knowing so much or, like, how Vanessa and Hudgens has been in more modern times,
Yeah.
as well as not remembering anything of High School Musical 1, really. Having her be, I want to say this kind of, like, soft-spoken, but, like, sweetheart kind of girl who also is just, like, really, really smart, apparently. They say, like, she's got, like, straight A's in school and honors and yada yada kind of thing. And she's all just sunshine and smiles and everything like that. And I'm just like, is that who she's supposed to be? Because I forgot or did not know, or just that does not register as that kind of character for me. But it's apparently, yeah, it is a jock and a nerd dynamic. I guess it works, I guess. For them.
They are a couple who meet by coincidence one night and then are thrown together whenever she moves to his school where he's the basketball star and the most popular guy. Even though they're all juniors, this is a very junior-specific series until they become seniors in the third movie, but we're not talking about that one. They end up together after some highs and lows of their relationship, the highs and lows of basketball, and they are a happy couple by the end of that movie. And High School Musical 2 picks up almost right off where the first one ends. Maybe like a few weeks later at the end of the school semester, everyone is eager for summer to start, and that they are in a trance, stomping and
literally
chanting.
Counting down the minutes.
The
seconds.
They are chanting summer. Summer. Summer.
It's just a midsummer cult. That's all it is.
Everyone is just so excited that the moment the bell rings, everyone throws their papers in the air, not giving a shit about who's got to clean this up later. They make such janitors. A mess out of this school by the end of this opening song.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, y'all are being very rude to the people that have to actually go and like clean up after you.
It's tragic, honestly.
But yeah, we get into our first song where we pretty much get the recap / restating of who these characters are.
Yeah, we are reintroduced to the cast of, like, oh, Troy's the basketball star, Gabriella's the happy nerd or whatever, I guess. Again, they just never say that she's a nerd, but they do.
She's not a nerd, she's just smart. She's just a smart
She's
girl.
Smart, yeah.
We've got Troy Bolton,
Sharpay's
we've got Gabriella.
Queen. Yeah.
We've got Sharpay, played by Ashley Tisdale, who is the
Queen.
She's not, I guess she's popular, but that doesn't really ever come across. She's just sort of...
It's funny because I guess I want to say, I actually rewatched Heathers with a friend last night.
Okay.
And there's something, I guess, in the difference between, like, Sharpay is the most probably popular girl in school. She runs the whole joint kind of thing. But I don't know if people also necessarily dislike her in the way that, like, people were like in Heathers. It's like, oh, the Heathers are the most popular girls in school, but also do not cross them. We are scared of them. Like, I don't know if Sharpay necessarily carries the weight of, like, this, I guess, wickedness to her, even though she is kind of the antagonist.
She's an extremely antagonistic force, but I also feel like I feel that in that, like, people just come up to her and, like, they treat her like she is someone to be idolized, but not like she's someone that will ruin you given the opportunity. Yeah. And she doesn't really seem to be the kind of person who wants to ruin people just willy-nilly. More so, she just wants to get what she wants, and what she wants is Troy Bolton.
Yes.
Because he's the popular guy. He's the most attractive, popular guy in school. She's the most popular, attractive girl in school, in her eyes. So obviously they should be together. Which
is so... I said this more than a few times when we were watching, of how I will give props to how these teenagers were written as characters. They do a good job of that. Like, it is so insane to me as someone in my late 20s seeing this girl do a whole song and dance, partly literally, to get a guy to try and fall in love with her, or at least date her. And it's like, girl, you're 17 and stupid, and
She's
so is he.
so in her own world that she doesn't really see or think about what other people's feelings are. And it's not in it's usually not in a manipulative way. She's just that blindsided by her own self-worth that she doesn't really pick up on anyone else's feelings. And I think that's way better than her being like some super scheming, like pulling the strings behind the scenes kind of character, which she does do that a little bit, but it's more that she's doing it in the moment out of spite and pettiness to get what she wants instead of like, oh, all the dominoes have lined up and I am in the perfect position to receive what I deserve.
She is not a full, like, Regina George on things. She is not plotting and planning, like, the downfall of many. But she's out here just doing her thing. She's having a good time. For herself.
Other characters we have, of course, are Ryan Evans, who is Sharpay's brother. Never said... they have to be twins, right?
I was looking at Wikipedia and it says yes, they are twins.
Okay, I don't remember if any of the movies ever, like, specify that, but, like, they would have to be twins to be in the same year.
Right.
Or something would have to have been done, but that's something I never really thought about until, like, when we were rewatching it a few days ago. But Ryan is the flamboyant, very nice, like, sidekick to Sharpay.
He's gay.
He's gay. He's the queer.
We can say it. He's
the queer character of the show, but the show will never say he is queer.
The show does not. The director and the actor both do.
It is one of those things of when you watch this, you can so tell, like, oh, that is a gay child. That is a gay 17-year-old boy who is
complimentary.
Who is a little awkward.
Yeah.
Who's in his sister's shadow and wants to sort of do his own thing and, like, live up to her and also work with her, but also needing to learn that he has to find his own place in the world as well. He's got depth, and it works well. And this movie
he grows a lot in this one.
Yeah. And then the third movie gives him a straight love interest. Yeah, because they had to keep because these movies have a weird thing of just pairing off the characters with each other.
The spares,
yeah, and you know it is what it is.
It's the forever weird thing of like Sharpay's whole really into the baker dude.
Yes, well, he's into her and she does sort of get into him, like in a few scenes, but yes.
I feel like she's into him, but it's also this, like, I guess, it's this weird haha funny of, like, he's so, like, down on the totem pole that she couldn't be, to herself at least, that she's like, I can't be with this guy, no. Like, he's not popular, he's not cool, like, no. But also understanding, like, hey, he's got some good features to him. Growth. That's what we could have had. Yeah. But no, Sharpay is not allowed to grow. She's allowed to grow through the movie, but then by the start of the next one, she has to go back to whatever she was before.
We have to, like, always reset her back, like she's Samus in a Metroid game, losing all of her power-ups.
So are these droids, we gotta reset their memory.
Other characters are Chad Danforth, played by Corbin Blue, and his love interest, Taylor McKessie, played by Monique Coleman. And that's our main six. We have a few other main side characters. Notably, there is Kelsey Nielsen, played by Alessia Rulin. Kelsey is the piano player, musician girl who's... She's more so played like a homey, nerdy type girl, but it's never, like, made fun of, at least in this movie. And we also have Zeke, who is the baker guy, Jason, who is part of the basketball team, and a few others. They're mostly just characters that exist to pad out the dialogue and the character dynamics, but never get a bunch of character interactions themselves, outside of, like, one or two lines in any scene.
They're just kind of there. Yeah, like, they fill in some space to just kind of keep things going at times, because it's like, we have these interesting side characters that we could have and do more with, but so much is still kind of, like, centered on Troy and Gabriella and their relationship, and it's kind of like, I don't care about this. I'm not here for this. but we got to do it anyway.
And
for some reason,
as we get to the end of the first opening number, whenever everyone's singing about how excited they are for summer to finally be here, we get into the main crux of the plot of everyone's worried about one or two things, getting a summer job and also college, because senior year is coming up. College will be right after that, and they need to start saving money for summer jobs because people want cars, they want to be able to afford college, they want to be able to afford whatever they want and be independent from, I assume, their parents. Even though we only get to see Troy and Sharpay's like living situation in these movies, except for like briefly we see Gabriella's in the first movie. All of these kids go to a pretty nice school and live in pretty nice houses, and I would put them in like upper middle class, if not like upper class for Sharpay, who is a rich child.
A funny review that I saw mentioning about how like wild, like high class some of them get to live, mentioning Troy's dad brings him a bowl full of grilled steaks to his room at night.
Right?
Like just a normal thing.
And we know that Troy's dad is the basketball coach. He is a basketball coach who has won many awards for the school, apparently.
Yeah.
Mom does, and they live in a very nice house because that's the only house that we jump to in this movie. And I don't know how they do that off of a teacher's salary, but power to them. Sharpay is rich. Her family is rich. They are...
Yeah.
I don't know if they are owners of the place that the main plot takes place in.
I think they do own the country club.
They're like their board of directors.
Or it's referred to their family's country club or something like that.
And that's about it. I don't remember what Gabriella's situation is, but she also lived in a nice house in the first movie. So all these kids come from some decent money that most of them are doing pretty good in school, either in education-wise or in athletics or in other extracurriculars, that they will probably get tuition and scholarships for college, whatever they choose to go to. That I don't know why they're worrying about it so much, but then again, it's been a while since I've been in high school, so I can't really say how I was thinking of it back in the day.
I mean, it's the funny thing because we would have to be under the assumption that they go to a public school, which is going to cost them less than private education. But also, they look like they could probably afford it if they were to go to a private school. And then, so I guess the idea that, college is going to be more expensive, but, like, I went to a public university, and it was cheaper than my high school at the time. So, can't relate. Really can't relate to that.
And so, everyone needs to get a job. And what Sharpay needs is to spend the summer with Troy Bolton. And so she gets this perfect idea and tells the manager of Lava Springs, the resort, the country club that their family own, to hire Troy as any position just to keep her happy and keep him around. We get a scene where Troy gets the call, and he does convince Mr. Fulton to let every one of his friends have a job there in various positions, which is a pretty big pull, but Sharpay did tell Fulton to get Troy there by any means necessary, so he gives everyone a job. This entire group of friends get to work at this very nice country club for a few weeks until summer is out. I don't believe it's ever stated how much they're going to be making there, but some of them work as cooks, some of them work as waiters, some of them work as cleaning up, like, I guess janitorial staff maybe, or bussers. Whatever is needed.
Yeah. Because there is a lot going on at this country club. We see, like, they've got, like, saunas and yoga rooms. They've got a big old pool outside.
Large golf course with a bunch of different, like, golf course classes.
Yeah. There's like a dance hall room or two,
fine
something
dining,
like that. A big cafeteria.
This is a very large establishment that has a lot going on for it. And all these characters just get sort of dispersed out to various parts of it. So I would hope they're getting paid well, but also They probably aren't.
No, but they might be for the time, at least.
We get a second song where Sharpay sort of sings about how she wants everything in life to be fabulous for her, which involves Ryan teleporting and changing clothes between scenes because
he just flash steps around, apparently.
Because on one hand, he's next to her in, like, swimwear because they are singing by a pool. And in other scenes, he is teleported to being in the pool, playing on a pink piano in a suit, a white suit with his, like, hair done up and, glasses and sunglasses on. And he just goes back and forth between any given moment. So we're going to just, say that musicals give you powers because they tend to.
Probably, yeah.
But he does have the ability to teleport, apparently. And this isn't the only time he is able to teleport back and forth in the movie. So I think I think gay people could just do that.
They do. We just don't talk about it.
Well, I'll censor it out of the podcast.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
So she has this song to herself, which ends with Troy entering the scene, ready for his job, looking... I don't know why Sharpay is so into him, because no offense to Zac Efron or Troy Bolton, but he does look kind of basic. He's like average. Zac Efron is a good-looking person. Troy Bolton, when he walks into these scenes, is the most basic high school boy that you can think of. And it's so interesting how ride or die Sharpay is willing to be for this kid.
She is 100% into him, and Zac Efron has aged better over the years than the young man that he was at the time in these movies. But he just constantly has this, like, puppy dog expression, whether it's like something's going wrong and he looks very sad, and it's like when you catch your dog having eaten off of your plate
so
or something,
emotive with his
and
eyes.
You're being like, what did you do, and it's just that face is what he puts
in
on.
any
He's like
given scene where something is happening to or around Troy Bolton, he has the most confused boy expressions on. Like, he just doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why he's here. What is happening? Please, can I go home?
I love it.
It is so funny just to watch his face in some of these scenes, because he's just so out of it, while everyone else is like, oh, this is exactly how this is supposed to go. And he's just like, what are you doing? What are you talking? What are you saying?
Weird shit's going on, and he's just like... It's that weird moment of being in a musical, and then there are musical numbers happening that he is aware are happening to him, but he doesn't want to be in them, and he does not join in or want
until
to
he
be.
does.
And it is that kind of thing where it's like, if you or me or an everyday person were walking along and suddenly people started singing and dancing, you'd be very confused. You wouldn't know what to do. Exactly. And it's what he tries to do sometimes, or what it feels like he's building up to. I'm just going to go now, till he either just gets wrapped up in it or he just kind of sits through it. Bless his heart.
As he enters the scenes to the end of Sharpay's musical number, we also get the reveal that everyone, of course, is working there now.
Our main cast is all here.
Terrifies Sharpay so much that she somehow slips and falls into the pool, even though she was standing perfectly fine a second ago. It's a quick register where she's shocked and like confused and like upset that everyone is here, ruining the chances of her and Troy being alone together for the summer. That she's like fine one moment, and then the next screaming and falling into the pool, where Gabriella, who is revealed to be the lifeguard on duty, now taking over for the very attractive Spanish man who had previously been the lifeguard, rescues her. And Gabriella is just to this point of... I don't know if Gabriella thinks of Sharpay as like a friend or an acquaintance. They sort of leave off on good terms at the end of the first movie. But as we said, Sharpay gets a reset. So Gabriella's just trying to be a nice person, and Sharpay's just screaming and freaking out because she has this warped idea of the world that everything has to go her way.
It has to be what she wants when
and
she
if
wants
it doesn't, she just starts freaking out. And there's maybe something telling there, like maybe this is... I don't always want to... I feel like we fall back on the, girl, get some therapy.
I would love to psychoanalyze.
I would love to psychoanalyze
I would love
you,
to
girl,
do this.
because you've got some things going on under the hood.
And it's a funny thing because we'll get to it more when we meet their parents.
Oh, man.
Which this is the first time in the series, but it's kind of like Sharpay tends to just get always what she wants. And so I think she has some control issues there, where she's kind of been literally handed everything to her on a silver platter, that the minute it's not happening, she just kind of tantrums about it, or has a breakdown in some cases, when it's like, yelling or throwing money at it isn't going to fix the problem.
Girl, please.
Your brother's fine. Your brother's alright. He just
turned out so much more socially adjusted. Maybe not socially adjusted, because he's a little socially awkward, but he is more worldly adjusted. He does not see the world as everything must warp around me. In anything, he's like, I need to help my sister warp the world for her. Maybe he's like, maybe Ryan sees that this girl is like a tick away from having a full-blown panic attack and meltdown, that he just has to help make things right.
They both have anxiety, but he has the like mom friend kind of thing going that overrides his own. He has to take care of his sister to make sure that she doesn't panic. Otherwise he would be. And also
theater kids are just like this.
This is also true, yeah. We do.
Sharpay, outraged at all of this happening, tells the manager, Mr. Fulton, to make everyone's jobs the most difficult he can. Mr. Fulton starts setting them off on, like... he just becomes such a hard ass. He's, like, very strict with everyone. He makes sure that everyone is, like, prim and proper, and everything has to go exactly the right way. He doesn't give them any, like, a chance to argue or make excuses or, like, have, like, breaks or anything like that. Like, everything has to be perfect, and he is being very strict on how they should do things, and this makes everyone upset, even though, come on, guys, it's probably a lot of y'all's first jobs. You just gotta get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta deal with it, dude. Like, get over it. Just take it on the chin, do the job, go home.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
They're 17. Unfortunately.
Oh, poor guys. They'll learn. I hope they had
Yeah.
Where's the High School Musical now deal?
Please. There's actually a funny thing. This obviously wouldn't pertain to their characters, but I was just looking and seeing that the oldest member of our main six is actually Monique Coleman, who is 41 now. And then both Ashley Tisdale and Lucas Grabeel are 37.
Okay.
Zac Efron's 34, and Vanessa Hudgens and Corbin Bleu are both 33.
And this was
15 years ago,
15 years ago?
High School Musical 2 actually dropped on August 17th.
Oh, soon.
Yeah. So the movie will be 15 years old, actually, this month.
So that would put the youngest at around, what? 18?
The Corbin Bleu and Vanessa Hudgens would have been 18. Zac Efron would have been 19. Ashley and Lucas would have been 22.
Okay.
And Monique Coleman would have been 26, I believe.
So very kind of strange age range there, but...
yeah.
I mean...
like, actual teenagers to mid-20s playing 17-year-olds.
And I believe High School Musical 1 was only 1 year earlier, at 2006.
Yeah, I think
January
so.
20th, 2006, so...
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were still very young teenagers playing the role of teenagers, and some of them were a little bit older, but not, like, egregiously older.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting to have, like, that like, difference there. And I mean, at least they weren't, like, casting... except for Monique, who still does a good job in the movie, and looks young, but isn't ever put in the situation of, like, having to act like a, like, real teenager or anything like that.
It is the thing of We sort of had a discussion while watching of there's like maybe 2 scenes in this movie where Zac Efron does not have a shirt on, and knowing that he was very much a like teen heartthrob,
Yeah.
and was very much like idolized and viewed for his body through a majority of his life, honestly. It's not until like some more of these later years where he's finally been able to like get out from that and be himself, and I'm very happy for him for that. But compared to a lot of more modern media, like Riverdale is the first thing that I think of, for example, it's nice that they're just kind of let them play in the space and be teenagers kind of thing, and keep it for that. Yes, this movie is made for a certain audience that's like tweens to teens kind of thing, but they very much kind of I don't want to say sanitize, but they just made a good teen movie for teens. Like that they did the job.
There was a reason this movie was like one of the highest like viewed and adored Disney Channel movies like of that era, even of like maybe of like to the current day. It is a better movie than the first one. The third one was a theatrical release, so it's technically in a different ballpark than this one was.
Mm-hmm.
And while other Disney Channel original movies were fun, this one at least had like this one had a bit more oomph to it, I want to say.
Yes. Out of the many Disney musical movies that we've gotten over the years, of which they're varied in their quality, this one does still seem to hold a lot for people. Apparently even like Rotten Tomatoes, it's like essentially a 4 out of 5 movie. It's an 80-something%. Like, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It was a fun time.
Kenny Ortega's a fun director.
Yeah.
He does good work. He knows how to direct a bunch of kids to have fun and to an enjoyable movie experience.
Mm-hmm.
But we have all of these issues. Everyone's worrying about their jobs. Troy sort of gets everyone to pull themselves together and work through it. We get a few scenes of Troy and Gabriella trying to be together, but then they keep getting interrupted by Sharpay's meddling. Like they have a picnic on the golf course. Sharpay activates the sprinklers, and then they get caught by Mr. Fulton. Later on, they go for like a late night swim, and then again get caught by Mr. Fulton, and Troy keeps trying to be like oh, this was all my fault, Mr. Fulton, don't blame Gabriella. She's just going along with what I wanted, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you can't really pull that. Like, yes, you sort of have weight because Sharpay really likes you and you can't be fired. And while you may not fully understand that, you probably shouldn't be risking Gabriella's job too, just to mess around in what is technically against the like resort rules. Like, not that I am someone who wants to say you have to follow the rules, but you are a bunch of kids who are on privately owned property.
You are kids who are running around a country club without having paid dues or being in a position where you are allowed to be here. And yes, you're off the clock, I am assuming, during these moments. Yes. But that still doesn't mean, like, it would be like if you just like, oh, I'm off the clock at my job, and then you just like sat and messed around at your job, like, or at your place of work for like a couple hours. You invite your friends over to hang out at your job kind of thing. It's like, okay, you're not on the clock, but like, don't do that here.
It's like
go somewhere else.
That is fine for maybe some places, and usually if you're like cool with management, you guys are not cool with management, and you're like barely cool with the owners of the place. And it just feels like there's multiple occasions where a lot of them are just sort of getting into trouble because they just don't want to. They want to do things their way, and not they just can't. Right. They just can't keep from getting their noses into trouble. I'm just like, y'all, just go home. Please. One of you owns a pool. Y'all can go late night swimming at one of your friends' house or something. I'm
sure more than one of them has a pool in the backyard. Yeah, like
y'all live in like Arizona or something.
Yeah, or Utah or wherever it is. Or actually,
I think it is Utah.
there's the show was filmed in Utah, but so apparently the thing is that they say is that Gabriella decides to stay in Albuquerque with her mother. So we're in New Mexico, I think?
Oh, I think we are in New Mexico.
Okay.
Maybe?
I think so.
I feel like they do say in the first movie that they're in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But East High is in Utah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, she explains she's just moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and transferred to East High. Okay, so we're in like New Mexico area at least.
Okay. That's not terrible. But
I mean, I guess it's New Mexico.
It's New Mexico. But yeah, we have these scenes where they keep getting into like some trouble, and while Troy has the shield of Sharpay, everyone else does not. And Sharpay knows this, and the pulling the strings thing of like, I'm gonna get my dad, who has many connections, being the rich socialite he is, to help Troy get like attention from the universities he's interested in, because maybe he can go off and play basketball at a university, and this will give him like a full athletic scholarship and whatnot, as long as he does what she wants him to do.
Yes. The side to this now, at least at this point, is that we've seen at an earlier point when Sharpay finds out Gabriella's there and that all of the people from their school are there, she immediately goes to cry to her mother, to be like, Mom, get rid of all of these people. And her mother doesn't really react, or is just kind of like, oh, you kind of thing.
I don't want to pull Ryan and Sharpay's parents are, I don't want to call like abusive, but
oh no,
but
no, they can be absent or dismissive.
I think it is dismissive was the word I was thinking of. Was the mom is very dismissive of Sharpay. Ryan and the mom are very like close. You could tell which parent favors which child, because the mom and Ryan are very close in a way that Sharpay and her mom never seem to be on camera. And Sharpay and her dad seem to have a connection that Ryan and the dad do not seem to have much of any. I don't even think they have like much interaction besides the dad telling Ryan to be more heteronormative.
Yeah. There is a very kind of like daddy's little princess kind of thing that Sharpay has with her father. And whenever he's around Ryan, it's kind of this awkward, like, yes, my son boy. How's it going?
Good job,
champ. Yeah, exactly. That neither of them really seem like they interact very well at all with each other, but he is very close to his mother, she is close to her father, so maybe they both kind of have an issue with their family in that regard, and that follows them along into their own little relationships, where again he's had this relationship and connection with their mother, who maybe isn't as much of the force behind everything as their father might be, but that's just, I think, part of why like Sharpay has gotten everything she has wanted because her father just would give it to her or make it happen kind of thing. So I think that's what leads into why when anything goes wrong in her life, she has to have a fit about it. And I guess that's why Ryan just wants to make her happy, because it's still his sister and he cares about her. And he knows that if their father isn't around, I guess their mom's not going to do anything if Sharpay's having a fit.
I'm just saying, if fandom back in 2007 was as advanced as it is today, we would be getting some like really deep cut character studies on on Sharpay and Ryan, and how their upbringing and the parenting really like turned them into what they are today. We'd be getting some like real like wankst fanfic being written out there. What a shame.
Honestly,
another day, another age.
Yeah.
Maybe it exists. I've never gone and looked through that can of worms, but I would hope that someone has maybe done some kind of deep cut with these characters.
In the world where we've had the Twilight Renaissance and people have like restudied and re-gone back to those books and movies, I think it would be fun and interesting to see if people were to go back to High School Musical. And hey, with the anniversary coming up of this one, you know, why not?
Maybe they should.
Everyone out there, go and deep cut rewatch High School Musical 2.
Piano Girl Kelsey is writing a song for Troy and Gabriella because there is a midsummer talent show that is happening.
Yes.
And Kelsey wants Troy and Gabriella to sing in it because Kelsey is really into these two.
She just wants them together for some reason.
She's shipping it. She is definitely the like fandom Tumblr girl in like a few years. She's written a really good song for the two of them, and Troy's initially not into the idea, but he gets pulled into it, and everyone sort of figures that this is a good thing for everyone.
He's sort of reneged on where he was in the first movie of doing like the talent show and the karaoke and performing and everything, and he's kind of like, nah, I'm just the bro who plays basketball. I'm the jock. And it's like, okay, we've been through this before. Like, did everyone regress over those months?
He's so outspoken about how he doesn't want to sing and he doesn't want to like perform like that. And yet a few scenes earlier, he was, and it is, you have to suspend disbelief because it's a musical and things are weird in musical space. But he did start a song where he wanted everyone to work together and work this out, like literally a few minutes ago in movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's so willing to start singing any other time, but if he has to get on a stage and do it, he's very no about it.
He's got performance anxiety.
But he's not performance anxiety when it comes to like playing basketball.
Yeah. Just there's a difference between certain things.
Different
of like,
context.
Yeah,
the world's a stage,
playing
but a different
basketball
kind of stage.
versus singing a solo. Like, yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like I've always said, I did choir for many years and doing musical stuff, but there's a big difference between being in an ensemble and being like a main player kind of thing. But we also have, because we did watch
the extended version.
Extended cut. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the song title, but
there is a cut scene that happens after one of the days and before Troy and Gabriella go swimming at night, where Troy gets abducted by Sharpay and placed in a chair that seems like it should have manacles that come down and like lock him in place. And then Sharpay, Ryan, and her backup girls who are in the movie perform a song
it's supposed to be like a Hawaiian style like legend story or what have you that she's using as like a romance song almost, or like we can be just like this story and we can be together, and like and Ashley Tisdale kills at it, like she's great for it, but in a more modern context and setting, it's just kind of like, is it okay for y'all to be doing this? Because this is like
it is extremely a white people perform this very what is possibly a cultural Hawaiian story about a fish who turns into a warrior prince, I believe. And the name of the song is the Hawaii state fish, I think, from research I did. But it still does come across as like a very strange thing to be performing, and I don't know if it was cut for time or if it was cut because it's a little distasteful.
It's just, this is a little weird to say the least.
It could be worse, and it is a product of its time, but it's probably for the best that it was cut out. But this is one of the scenes where Troy just gets put in a chair and things start happening around him, and he starts making faces like, I don't know what's happening. Am I in a dream right now?
Mm-hmm. He has an absolute face journey while he is just sitting there. Just the displeasure, the disbelief, like, it's perfect.
I know.
I love every minute of it.
So funny.
It is one of the, I want to say, in a way, one of the worst scenes of the movie in just how cringe everything is that's happening. But I loved it. It was so funny at just how bad it was. And props to all of them for doing fantastic work.
It's like all of them
they
are
did.
so... I'm not big on most of their other filmography, but in this movie they do such good character work that it is just so entertaining.
Right?
But this also builds up to Troy is always being late to interactions with Gabriella. He says he's going to meet her and then is always a few minutes late, or he's running late because the job is taking him away. These kids are still kids, and they don't understand that sometimes priorities in life take precedent over other priorities in your life. I'm sorry, you can't always be there for someone if you are also working a job. It's hard. Time management is a difficult task. You'll get better at it. And Gabriella mostly, like, shrugs this off, but Taylor does play...
She does stir the pot a little.
In, like, many scenes, she's like, girl, do not let him off the hook for this. If he says he's going to be there on time, he should be there on time. You should always hold a man to his word. She's kind of, like, very in it for the drama. But she's never, like, put in a position of, like, this being a bad thing. She's always sort of technically right.
It's like she cares about her friend and she wants what's best for her, but at the same time, it kind of feels like she is like, ooh, girl, why is he doing this? Like, did you think about it this way? And it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you starting this?
She's blowing things out of proportion, but then the movie confirms that she's right all along anyways, like a scene later, whenever she does it, that it feels a little weird where us as an audience are like, that feels unnecessary, and maybe, again, in character for how teenagers would be, but to us, thinking like, I feel like you're stepping into things that you shouldn't, but then like literally maybe a scene later, things get proven right for her to where nothing ever comes of it, so I guess good for her for always being in the morally correct position.
It's okay to start stuff and be a little mean to your friends if, after all, you were okay to do it, kind of thing.
And this also compounds with Troy is slowly being changed because of Sharpay's meddling. Sharpay has gotten him a better position at the resort. She's gotten him connections with famous basketball players that he looks up to, connections to the school that he wants to go to for basketball. He's just sort of being more and more a worse person. Like he is. It's such a very quick change because on one scene he is very down to earth and normal, and he's sort of like the odd duck out in like a scene with Sharpay and her family and some other people that are there for like the university that Troy wants to go to. And in another scene where he is in a similar situation, he is very like, he's very rude to his friends.
He goes between, I don't know how to interact with all these rich people doing rich people things because I'm just some guy who likes to play basketball. But then when he gets invited to play basketball with like the professional players on like their state sports team or whatever kind of thing, he just blows off all of his friends from his basketball team because he's like, well, it's about me and my needs kind of thing, which Sharpay has kind of like been like slowly drilling into him about.
Like she's stoking that flame more and more, and he's becoming a worse person because of it.
Yeah.
And I know we keep coming back to this, but it definitely feels like, oh, obviously it's because they're teenagers. But even then it's like, Troy is usually a decently level-headed person.
They say that there's a line where Chad says, "We made you our team leader because you're the one who knows what's up. Like, you're the one who's, like, down to earth, level-headed, like, you just kind of keep it going. And you are not that person right now."
He's just like, straight up, you have changed. You are not you are not the bro that I once thought you were. And they have their own little breakup, and Troy just doesn't, like, Troy's like a little torn up about it, but he doesn't do anything about it. He just sort of shrugs it off and goes off with the other people and leaves his very close friends to just go do things without him. And everyone else picks up on this so hard that it just feels like y'all just need to have that talk with him, like, away from this setting. Like,
yeah,
like, call him after work. Like,
yeah,
pull him to the side and be like, dude, I know that this stuff is important to you. And it is, because this is his future he has to think about. But also, that shouldn't come at the cost of, like, his own personality and his relationships with his friends and family.
It's like literally, this is your friend got you a job working with them, doing the same thing that they do, and then your friend got a promotion to, like, not quite your manager or supervisor, but enough that they are above you, and then they just leave to do their own thing, like, and just, they don't even register or interact with you anymore, kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of shitty, but also, if that happens at your job, that happens at your job, but that doesn't mean you don't have to still be friends outside of that kind of thing.
To coincide with this, we also have Ryan, who is being blown off by Sharpay because Sharpay finally has Troy where she wants him. And Ryan is left wondering, well, what about me? We always do things together. You, like, the brother-sister duo who have always won awards together and have always performed together. You're just gonna throw me out? And Sharpay's pretty much like, yeah, I am. Like, I don't need you right now. What I need is Troy. You can go do something else or have, like, a bit part in the performance. And Ryan is obviously very upset about this and left to sort of wander on his own before he gets picked up by everyone else. Like, there's a very nice part in the middle of this movie where the side characters actually get to interact and do things without the main character's involvement. In that Gabriella is there, but she's also a very smaller driving force.
I was gonna say, it's almost the funny idea of, like, Gabriella is obviously Troy's girlfriend and important to the story.
Yes.
But it feels like Troy and Sharpay are the main characters of this movie.
They are extremely the main characters.
Yeah, and Gabriella's, like, not the main character of everything right now. So even though it's like, yeah, she's one of the main six and she is the main love interest, she's just kind of around for things, and she obviously is still important, but, like, she does play more with the side characters, like, storylines and interactions than she does with anything really on Troy and Sharpay's end of, like, story focused on us.
I mean, it's kind of nice because I like whenever movies, or just in general media, will take the side characters and give them chances to breathe outside of the main cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, develop these characters more, make them feel like they deserve to be in the story. And we get a scene where all the side characters, Ryan, Chad, Gabriella, Taylor, and everyone else pretty much go play baseball. And this leads to sort of what I would like to say is one of the better songs in the movie.
Yeah.
A duet/duel between Chad and Ryan, where they have very differing opinions on self and personality and what each other does as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chad is very suspicious because Ryan just shows up. Chad thinks, oh, Sharpay sent you to come spy on us and to come ruin our day again. And Ryan's like, nope, I got left behind as well. I'm just here to have fun. They have this thing where Ryan is a very, like we said, flamboyant person, and Chad is the opposite, and he is more of the, like, heteronormative masculine side of the story.
Yes. He's still a jock at the end
more
of the
than
day.
Troy. He is very bro. He's like super bro-y.
Yes.
And that's fine. He is still a good character at the end of the day. But Ryan and Chad butt heads on this, which leads them to the baseball duel, where they are singing and dancing and playing baseball against each other on opposing teams, trying to prove to each other that both can do what the other does in the song I Don't Dance. Just like cats. There's a lot of dancing,
though. There's a lot of dancing.
It's a good song. Everyone, there must be such difficulty when it comes to choreographing not only a dance number but also a baseball scene at the same time.
I mean, admittedly though, we can chalk that up to Kenny Ortega is more of a choreographer than a director, just in the role that he plays. Not that he is better at one than the other, but he is more so a choreographer. And he's been doing it for a long time. He knows what he's doing. And he proves that. This song has also been examined by a lot of people as an expression of exploring sexuality.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of references and lines to, like, I can't be that way, or have you tried, like, why do you feel like you have to be this thing? And so there's been a lot of talk about that over the years. And there is a level of kind of, you could squint and see some kind of, like, level of romantic tension going on there between these characters. And then they switch outfits afterwards.
After the scene ends, and we switch to a different scene, and then back again to the side characters, Chad and Ryan just have on each other's clothes. They've just...
For no explanation.
It is still very much so one of those things of like, oh, I don't know if this was done intentionally, but I would hope Kenny Ortega likes to throw in little things like that just to point at, oh, these characters are allowed to be queer, even if we are not allowed to say that.
Kenny Ortega is definitely, as a gay man, he has definitely put out his influence into his media that he has created, but we also know Disney does like to sterilize things a lot. And I don't know if he has necessarily expressed this directly, but again, with the fact that both he and the actor have stated that Ryan's character is gay in the series, that it's something that they were never allowed to explore to its fullest because Disney wasn't going to have it. Like, especially not in this time period of 2007. So, yeah, there is definitely a lot that you could read into, a lot of implications that you could make about this scene, and people have studied and examined it for a very long time. And it's not that we don't have anything new to add to that, but yeah, absolutely. Like, this was definitely what Kenny Ortega was putting down, and people picked it up.
People picked it up, all right.
Definitely picked it up after all this time.
But at the end of all this, Ryan, showing that he can hang with the rest, invites every side character to join in the talent show. Just because Troy and Sharpay are trying to take it all doesn't mean that they can't have fun and also give it a shot. So all the characters gang up with each other and decide, okay, yeah, let's work this out. Let's become part of the talent show. Let's try to show them up and show that we can do things that they can't. We're better together, not better alone.
Gang.
Troy and Gabriella's relationship is getting worse and worse. In a way that, like, is mostly still on Troy. Because he sees Gabriella hanging out with Ryan and gets, like, jealous. There's, like, this moment of, like, this look in his eyes where he's like, oh, what is this guy doing hanging out with my girl? And it's like, dude, look at him.
There's another funny, review that I saw that was like, the funniest subplot of this is how Troy becomes jealous of Ryan and Gabriella spending time. It's like, my dude, this is a non-issue. Have you seen his pattern hats? His jazz squares? Like, if you had been to the baseball game, you would have seen him with your best friend. Like,
you should probably be jealous over that one more so.
Exactly. And it is comical in this way that it's like, my girl's hanging out with, like, another guy that's not me. Insert Zac Efron sad puppy dog face, as he does. But it's, like, at the same time, and I guess this is a level of, like, just personal character maturity and comfort, where Troy has essentially been blowing off Gabriella or being unreliable for her, and definitely blowing off his friends, and he's spending a lot of time with Sharpay, sometimes against his will, but he is hanging out around her, but Gabriella never doubts his loyalty to her in their relationship.
She's never shown to be jealous.
Yeah, she's never jealous, she never thinks that he's cheating or anything like that. And she is only becoming more fed up because she thinks that he is becoming a different person from how he's been spending time with her friend, with Sharpay, how he's been treating his friends. So it's not like, I want to break up with you because, oh, you're with some other girl. It's, I would break up with you because I think you're not really the person I thought you were. And that's not good.
Gabriella is kind of... she's not boring, but she's just sort of standard. She doesn't really have, like... She's nice. She's a very nice person.
You're so nice. You're not good, you're not bad, you're just nice.
And she doesn't ever, like, show, like, outward signs of, like, anger or frustration, and she's very accepting and, like, good and genuine with others. And the only time she, like, goes off, like, not the deep end, but the only time she, like, shows, like, that frustration and anger is after we get a scene where Ryan, Gabriella, Chad, and the rest are practicing for the talent show, and first Troy Troy happens upon it and is left feeling excluded from everything, and then Sharpay wanders in moments after and is upset because how dare these people try to upstage her? Like, you are ruining my day. Like, what is your problem? And Sharpay does the Sharpay thing and goes to Fulton and tells him to make a very specific rule that staff members are banned from performing because they have to work that night, which is a precedent that has never been set, apparently. And this is the thing that finally gets Gabriella to, like, lose her cool, where she does confront Sharpay and is like, what is your problem? This isn't about... Sharpay obviously believes this is about Troy, but Gabriella doesn't really care about that. Gabriella cares about, you're ruining everyone else's, like, opportunity to do something fun just because you are jealous, because you're not getting your exact way that you need to. Sharpay is at her pettiest here, and Gabriella is finally done with it. Like, she just straight up and quits. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to be around here anymore.
It's out.
Like, you win. If you want to win so bad, you win. I quit. Goodbye. And I think that's a good part of Gabriella's character, is that she isn't jealous. She isn't, like, mean or rude. And even in that confrontation, she's not, like, insulting Sharpay, really. She's just trying to stand up for her friends because this is a great thing for them that got ripped out from under them because Sharpay's
kind of a bitch.
A little wicked. Troy overhears all of this and tries to stop Gabriella, but she's sort of still in her feelings because of all of this, rightfully so. And, like, she can't really trust Troy because he's busy hanging out with Sharpay all the time and not really caring about his friends. So she sings at him and wanders the halls of the resort while singing sadly and leaning against things. She does this in every movie.
Yeah.
In every movie,
she has to have, like,
scene.
her sad ballady kind of song that she has to do.
She gets sad and she starts wandering a location alone and empty. And it's a good song usually, but she's always doing this. And sort of breaks up with Troy because they never say they break up exactly, but she does return his necklace that he gave her earlier in the movie, which is a signifier of anything when you're, like, 17 years old.
Exactly.
And obviously this has led Troy to be like, okay, something's I gotta figure something out because this is bad.
He has to deal with, my girlfriend just broke up with me. I am trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this college stuff where I have to work with this girl who is giving me what I want, but maybe not making me a good person because of it.
And then his best friend broke up with him.
His best friend's not his best friend anymore.
Bro. And this leads Troy to do what any rational 17-year-old boy would do. He's going to go out into the golf course, and he's going to go angrily gesture and sing.
This is such an iconic performance that he puts on here.
Bet on It is such a funny... It's a good song, in my opinion. I really like this song. I think it's got a great tune. I think Zac Efron is a very good singer here. It is so funny, the things that Troy does here, where he just wanders off into the golf course at like near sunset, like at the in the late afternoon, and starts just getting mad.
Just gesticulating everywhere. Arms are waving, he's jumping, he's stomping, he's
he
is all over.
One moment he's strutting the golf course, the next he's jumping on some rocks. The next moment he's in the pit and he's grabbing sand and he's throwing sand.
He's splashing water. He's
smacking water. He goes and sings to his own very digitally created reflection in the water.
CGI'd reflection, yeah.
And smacks it because he gets mad. It's just such a good scene. It's
so good.
This is like angsty boy at his best, because he's also like in all black because of his uniform. It's
it's very like that Spider-Man 3 moment of just like he's in the all black, like looking all sad emo boy kind of thing, because he's gone to the dark side with Sharpay.
It's very on the nose, but it works really well. And the thing I wanted to bring up earlier was this is going to be a small tangent. But you know who Thomas Sanders is, of course.
Yes.
Internet personality Thomas Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know he did AMVs back in the day?
That would not surprise me.
Did you know he did Kingdom Hearts 2 AMVs?
I feel like that also shouldn't surprise me. Little bit does.
And if I'm led to believe, under the name of Roxas 424. Did you know he did a Bet on It AMV with Sora, Riku, and Roxas? Posted in 2007, I believe.
That would have been when it came out, yeah.
I just had to let this be known. I'm gonna link this to you real quick.
Oh, thanks. There it is.
Yeah. I just needed to let that be known that
yeah.
I was wondering I was going through the IMDb for High School Musical 2, and in the connections tab, there is just a bunch of like, oh, this is where these things have shown up in quote-unquote popular media. And I guess this is technically popular media because Thomas Sanders is a known internet figure now. Like, most people have seen him from his Vines and whatnot in the day.
Just from the little image preview from it, I just love the 240p-ness of it.
Oh, it's so good. This is chef's kiss. This is my past. As someone who also was very into like the AMVs back in the day, this is my history.
That admittedly, tangenting was I never got big into the AMV scene because I was much more into like fanfic, fan art kind of things or what have you. But it is just that little time capsule of the era that we are from. Just all right there. Everything.
Oh man, they just don't like things have changed, and they
don't make things like they used to.
This is the era of the internet where it's like it wasn't exactly great, but also it is this is the nostalgia I have.
It's almost this thing of like of knowing all of the problems that the internet had in that time period compared to today's internet. I'd go back in a heartbeat. I'd absolutely.
I just want to wake up and I want to be watching Naruto AMVs set to Avenue Q music. Yeah. God.
Oh my god.
Anyway, sorry, I had to bring that up because it's something I found and I thought we'd get a good little chuckle out of it.
I thank you. I think.
Don't thank me till after you watch it, maybe.
Yeah, and I
So
screamed.
at first when I saw it,
into your
at
house.
first when I saw Bet on It hyphen Sora Riku Roxas done by Thomas Sanders, I thought it had been some 2007 live action thing he had done back before he had done Vines and whatnot. And that's what made me think, oh, this is it. This is going to be a very fun, maybe, sorry, Thomas Sanders, cringe watch. And actually, no, it's just AMVs,
sure.
and I think this is still
This is
is
straight
fine.
up AMV.
That's allowed.
Yeah.
Oh man, but Troy has his get your head in the game moment. He has his like, I need to be better than what I am currently. And he finally confronts Sharpay about, hey, dude, you're doing some pretty nasty stuff to my / like our friends. Like, you know these people. You go to school. You have to go to school with them for 1 more year. Like, you should probably not ruin their lives or make lives hard for them.
We're all stuck in this hell together.
Like, they will make your life miserable. I promise you. You might be the popular girl, but they will gang together to make your life miserable. Go watch Heathers. Things turn out differently for those popular girls, but I'm just look, Sharpay, you could get Heathers.
You could get Heathers. There was a funny thing. This is obviously, there's a weird place in this one line that says, like, when teenagers complain that they want to be treated like human beings, it's normally because they are being treated like human beings. And I'm like, I don't agree with that, but there is some level of correctness to that. Because when people are like, I should not be treated like this, it's usually because they are being treated incorrectly. And it's unfortunately how society tends to be, is treating people incorrectly. For some reason, I thought that just applied to Sharpay in some ways as well, where it's just like, if she's not getting things the way that she wants them, she's having a breakdown, and it's like, girl, that's normal. That's normal life. Not everyone gets what they want.
Maybe we should watch the sequel that focuses on her.
Maybe, since I've never seen it.
I think it's like her in college or like in New York or something.
Yeah, because I'd only ever seen the first movie until now.
We can skip 3. It's all right. But yeah, Troy finally confronts Sharpay. And he tells her, like, I'm not going to do the performance with you. And pretty much everything comes together to where he works things out with everyone else. Like, he gets back together with his bro. He apologizes to all his friends at school. Like, hey, sorry for being such a loser. And they do pretty much convince him, like, hey, yes, we're glad that you apologize and that you're trying to be a better person. But you should still go perform with Sharpay. You should still do the performance because there are people there that are there to see you perform for college. And he's like, okay, yeah, that you're kind of right about that. I should probably take this opportunity while it's there. With the addendum that everyone is going to be performing. Like, everyone must perform together.
It is malicious compliance that he does there.
They do the thing where they turn everything around on Sharpay. Like, Sharpay it's the night of the performance. Sharpay is in tears. She is losing it. She's having that supposed meltdown finally because everything is not going her way. She doesn't have anyone in her corner anymore. Ryan's abandoned her. Troy's abandoned her. And finally, Troy shows back up and is like, I do want to perform with you. We are going to perform together. And Sharpay has this moment of sort of realizing, like, okay, yes, I was in the wrong. Like, I did mess up, but I still want to go and be cool and pretty, and
I'm still going to be the best girl.
I still want to be the prettiest girl on campus. But Ryan plays a little Joker's trick and tells Troy that Sharpay has a new song for him to learn. And Sharpay has no idea about this switcheroo. So when Troy goes on stage to perform with Kelsey, of course, at the piano, as he starts singing, Gabriella shows up instead. We don't really... After Gabriella leaves the scene a few scenes ago after she has her song, she doesn't really do anything until she comes back here.
No, yeah. She left him and then eventually came back. And we have no
also,
idea.
like, had given him his necklace back, and in the scene where she reappears, she has his necklace back on. So I don't know what happened between these scenes, or if it's just an oversight. Who could say? But Gabriella and Troy perform on stage, as they are always destined to do. Troy has switched out from his all-black outfit to an all-white outfit now, to show that he is back on the light side of things. Everyone, as the song grows and grows, they pull all of the other cast members, all the other Wildcats, including Sharpay and Ryan, into the song, and everyone performs this big number together, this big ensemble number, leading into standing ovation and applause from the decently small audience. It's like it's got enough people there, but it's not like a big. Yeah, it's like
is a country
doing
club.
like this pretty big performance for like what is maybe like 60 people. Then again, there are some like college recruiters there, so hey, I mean, maybe some of them will get something out of it.
Yeah, hey.
In the end, Sharpay is declared the winner because, of course, she's the mastermind, supposedly. But she does the very nice thing of stepping down from the pedestal and giving the award to Ryan, who was the real producer and director for the talent show for this performance. He is given his moment of spotlight, and that's that. They do the performance, and everyone's happy and friends again. They go off into the night and release lanterns into the sky and have a little picnic on the lawn, and like a late night like gathering on the lawn on the golf course together. And that's that. That's the movie.
That's kind of it.
We get a credits song.
Yeah.
With everyone, and it's bad. It's Kenny Ortega does a lot of good movies and a lot of good performances in his media. Almost always the ending song is bad. I'm going off of the previous High School Musicals and also the Descendants movies.
Yeah.
We can't watch those because those don't fall into our category, but go watch Descendants.
I will also say a little side note that was very interesting. I just on a whim looked up the Julie and the Phantoms thing that Kenny Ortega was behind, and found out that there is a canon queer romance that happens between two of the characters.
You see, whenever they're doing it in more like in Netflix, and this is not giving props to Netflix because I also think Julie and the Phantoms got canceled, but
it got one
Netflix
season and then got canceled.
But it is nice whenever creatives are allowed to not be held back by by allowing themselves to be able to put queer media
the company
in front of the audiences that want to watch it.
It was also just funny because one of these two is Boo Boo Stewart from also Descendants, so I was like, hey, look at that.
We like him.
But yeah, so we do like him. We do like this.
Catch us whenever we start our Disney Channel original movie podcast.
Oh, please.
We'll get to Descendants one day.
But yeah, so we have our ending. The movie ends. Better than Hallmark endings.
Yeah,
but
it's a big ensemble. Everyone's happy. Everyone's ready to enjoy the rest of their summer because it's only halfway
Miley
through
Cyrus
summer.
is here.
Miley Cyrus shows up.
And that's about it.
And that's it. In a thing that most movies I wish would do, there is a blooper outtakes in the credits where the cast just have fun. Good. It just shows that like these crew had a fun time directing this movie and like just performing in it. Yeah, it's always nice to see behind the scene things like that where everyone's just like, oh, this was a great experience. We love this. And that's High School Musical too. That's summer, baby. Good movie.
Yeah,
I had fun.
Movie.
I thought it was a very good time. I had a few laughs. I love to revisit these movies because I liked them a lot when I was a youngin', and I think that they hold up to some degree. I wouldn't say they hold up in like under like a microscope, but I think they hold up on like the level of I enjoy watching them.
Yes, this movie has some flaws to it, obviously, but also this was a movie made for teen/tweens to roll in the views kind of thing. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a heart and soul, because it definitely does. Kenny Ortega put everything into this, and it shows. It's a good movie. It's just fun. It's a very funny movie. And if you hate fun, you won't like it. If you're looking for some kind of super serious thing, why are you watching it?
How dare
like,
you?
Yeah.
If you hate fun,
I don't
get
know.
out of here.
Pretty much. It's like if this movie isn't your cuppa, obviously, that's fine. Like, if you're just not into musicals, cool, great. But like, no one's expecting this to be a cinematic masterpiece. Like, this is not Robert Eggers, but this is a good movie. It's fun. And I liked it for my first time viewing this movie. It's a good time.
Your child screamed. There he is.
I tried swooping him away last time.
And with that, yeah, that's the movie. That's our episode, pretty much.
Yeah.
What do you
Hope y'all are having a good summer.
What do you think of our summer so far?
Hot,
wet, hot and wet, hot, wet, and ready is how I like to describe myself. Our
hot, wet American summer every day, and it's really unfortunate.
We're almost at the end of it.
We have a couple more weeks left of summer before we get into fall, but down here it's just extended summer still. When we get to winter, maybe it'll start cooling off. Maybe.
I do like the cold.
We do like the cold. It unlocks the rest of our wardrobes.
Yeah. But we have one more episode for the month of August coming out.
Yes.
Another 2 weeks from now on the 30th? Question mark.
Something like that, yeah.
On the 28th, sorry.
28th, yeah.
On the 28th of August, we will have another episode. As still on our 2-week per episode break. We're keeping with the theme of summer and musicals.
Yeah.
Of sorts. Will, what is the movie we're watching next time?
We're going to be watching Stage Fright, which is a summer camp musical, essentially, about a bunch of kids who go to a musical theater camp and are terrorized by a killer.
So this one might be a little bit different from what we usually watch, but it might still be a lot of fun. And also Meatloaf is there.
Meatloaf is in this movie, and it's Meatloaf, so like he's doing a great job.
Rest in peace.
It's I have only seen this movie once, but I did enjoy it, from what I remember.
And I've never seen it at all, so I'll love to see what this is.
Yeah. This is according to Rotten Tomatoes, this is not that good of a movie, especially not compared to High School Musical 2.
That's fine.
But
we went through an entire month of Hallmark movies. We're not exactly well versed in good movies.
Well, and even then, we personally did find that a lot of the higher rated on IMDb, like, Hallmark movies weren't as good as some of the others.
We're not out here looking for prestige television. No. We just want to have a good time.
Exactly. So we'll see how that goes for Stage Fright, and let us know what your favorite musicals are, if you have any, and any ideas that y'all might have for summers in future, so that we're not just stuck finding musicals all the time.
I'm sure we could find more, but yeah, we'll have to figure something out next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find our show at Holiday Podcast on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at JazzySmoothReal. Where can people find you, Mr. William?
I'm on a Twitter. I'm at Ashwilliam on a Twitter, and also a Tumblr. Technically, I am still on Tumblr.
Do you want everyone to know where you are on Tumblr?
It's the same one, same thing. I don't post a lot of. I don't post any of my own content, but I do reblog a funny here and there, and it's a better website than Twitter, which is not a high.
Slide
bar.
into his DMs.
Yeah, I'll be around. I won't say I'll respond because I'm bad at that, but I'll be there.
Thank you all for watching. I hope everyone has a great summer. I can't say seasons greasons anymore.
Stay cool though. Stay frosty. Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.